Hello, everyone. My name is Coleman, and I'm going to be presenting on Daniel Arnold. Daniel Arnold is an NYC based photographer who specializes in street and documentary photography. Arnold is originally from Wisconsin, pictured on the left here, and in 2003 moved to the Big Apple at the age of 23. He was originally a writer working for MTV and other media companies. He began taking photos as a way to process the chaos of the city. It also gave him an excuse to be in places he otherwise felt too awkward to be in. He was a shy, polite Midwestern kid, and having a camera in his hands allowed him to engage with the city. With his outsider perspective, he immediately saw the beauty in the NYC streets and knew they had a lot of visual stories to be told. Originally, he was too shy to take the candid photos he knew he wanted to, but over time, he inched towards the work he makes today. He's somewhat of a social media success story, as he started posting on Instagram candid photos of people taken on his iPhone in 2011. Over time, he transitioned to film, his work caught on, and his followers grew until 2014, when he decided to sell 4x6 prints of his work on Instagram. He managed to make $15,000 in a day. From that point on, Daniel Arnold became not only a popular Instagram blogger, but a professional fine art photographer, although he wouldn't like being called that. After some time assisting a Vogue photographer, which was his only formal training, he got the opportunity to photograph celebrities at the Met Gala. He hasn't cited any inspirations himself, but his humorous and candid NYC style, in my opinion, is reminiscent of Joel Meyerowitz or a Gary Winogrand. I chose to present on Daniel Arnold because I find his combination of rawness, humor, and film aesthetic magnetic. His work shows the beauty and drama in the everyday. There's just something so human about his images. Even when photographing celebrities at the Met Gala, his style is so recognizable. I wouldn't say his photos of these celebrities are flattering necessarily, but they're so immersive and authentic, and because of that, I find them beautiful. I found this so inspiring because when I discovered him on Instagram, I was just getting into photography and I was heavily using film. His work made me take to the streets and start photographing the world around me, and it showed me that I didn't need to edit my photos and I didn't need a bunch of fancy gear to make interesting work. I was the only filter I needed. If you could describe Arnold's artistic approach in 5 words, it'd be capturing private moments in public. Almost all of his work features people caught in split second moments while completely unaware that they're being watched or photographed. And it's that omniscient quality that makes his work so intriguing. His subjects range from yuppies on their way to the desk, wandering tourists, or sedentary homeless people. But really, anyone under the sun is fair game for Daniel Arnold. His camera of choice is a Contax G2, a 35mm film rangefinder with a TLA 200 flash unit. This allows him to hastily illuminate and capture moments at the blink of an eye. His main body of work is shot in Midtown Manhattan. According to him, it's, quote, loaded with stories and impossible arrangements of people, every single type of person, and it's full of garbage and awful, loud, giant vehicles and signs and words everywhere, and it's the most classic city backdrop on the planet. It's delicious, end quote. However, he is also interested in other cities. He shot some street scenes in San Francisco for an exhibition in 2015. In only a couple of photos, he managed to capture the eccentricity of the city by the bay. Since then, he's made work in many other American cities as well as abroad. Daniel's process is pretty spontaneous. He often does not have a specific image in mind when he takes a photo. More so, his taking of the photo is an instinctual response to seeing a lot of interesting and unintended things happening in a certain space. According to him, it's more of an emotional, quote, emotional reaction than a premeditated artistic decision. This quote by him, I think, sums up his approach pretty well. My advice is almost always to stop trying to take good pictures and to stop thinking about photography and to get a disposable camera and to shoot a roll without looking through the viewfinder. Now that sounds pretty stripped down and raw and almost maybe kind of amateurish, but I decided to do that myself, and I found myself focusing more on what I was photographing and the subjects I was photographing, rather than how I was photographing them and what the depth of field was and what all the lighting was and all of that. Um, and if you notice his photos, they don't seem to vary too much in depth of field or exposure. They're really just about the people. They're almost just another pair of eyes. Because of his somewhat intrusive style, his subjects are not always comfortable with having their photo taken. Daniel has stated that his subjects will often either get angry and want to fight, ask why their photo was taken, or ask for it to be deleted. Of course, that can't happen because it's film, and Daniel often has to explain that. But these responses don't deter Daniel from making his work, despite the fact that, according to him, the fear never completely goes away. His work calls into question the ethics of his style and the ethics of street photography in general. When asked about it, Arnold has mentioned that behind all of his work is an appreciation for humanity and the vulnerability of that humanity which his photos show. But of course, he cannot control how his photos are perceived, and to that he relieves himself of too much responsibility. So, whether or not his work is an artful take on the human experience, or just plain rude, is up to us. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this inspired you to look at more of his work. His Instagram handle is Arnold underscore Daniel, which I wrote up in the top left corner. Otherwise, hopefully this encouraged you to go out and take to the streets and start photographing things. But anyways, thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day.